What kind of carbohydrates have the most volume? You may have guessed it, vegetables. Those really have the most volume. You could eat 2 cups of broccoli and feel satiated if you have it with healthy fats and with protein for much longer than if you crumpled up half a sleeve of Ritz crackers. There isn't much volume in that because they really turn into a form of what I always laugh about and call pixie dust when you crumble them because they aren't food. Welcome back to the Energetically Efficient channel with Kristen Rowell. I'm so excited to have you here today. And today what I wanted to talk about is the important topic that I talk about with clients all the time, which is macronutrients. Okay, so when I say macronutrients, what I'm referring to is 3 specific things. I might even call that one of them a 4th one. But when I say macronutrients, I mean protein, fat, healthy fats that is, and then carbohydrates. So those are our 3 macronutrients. And the only reason, you guys, that I say macro in front of them is because those are the 3 nutrients that we consume in larger quantities than our micronutrients that are things like our vitamins and minerals. So macronutrients, I think, are one of the most misunderstood topics for people who really want to understand more about their body and how it works. Many of us, and I'm going to probably out my age here, but if you grew up at any time like I did in the 80s and 90s, we really grew up in a time where, whether we realize it or not, carbohydrates have been marketed to us as like the thing we need to eat. It's like the 100-calorie pack the classic, I would say, here's the classic American breakfast that everyone's seen from growing up, which is the bowl of cereal, the toast with some sort of butter and jam on it, and the glass of orange juice, which, let me just tell you guys, if that's what you're still consuming, please stop. There's nothing healthy about that breakfast, and it is setting you on a huge blood sugar roller coaster for the rest of the day. So really, when we talk about macronutrients, I want to come at it from the lens of what is it that your body actually needs? Like, how does your body work so that you have the right nutrients going into it each day so that you are able to thrive and have no blood sugar dysregulation, have lasting energy throughout the day, sleep better at night, and actually lose fat and gain muscle at the same time? Yes, that's possible. I can do a whole nother teaching about that. So when we think about macronutrients, I always tell people, I want you to think of this, not metaphor. Okay, I'm going to have to come back to you on that because I got to think about it. It is prioritize protein, fill in with fat, and carefully add carbs. And if you want to get bonus points, which I'm always about bonus points, you can include fiber first. Okay, there's a lot of people talking about this in my nutrition space, colleagues of mine, really brilliant scientists who have talked about this, but that prioritize protein, fill in with fat, and carefully add carbs. I always say I'm going to trademark at some point because that part I did come up with. And so maybe with my lawyer background, I can do that. I'm kidding. But in any event, so let's talk about prioritizing protein. So in terms of macronutrients, you guys, we want to eat protein. We want to prioritize it on our plate because it is the nutrient that's going to do all of these things for us, okay? It's going to help us build muscle. Probably the most important thing we need protein for. It's going to help make our bones strong. It's going to create satiety. Literally one of my favorite words in the English language is satiety. It means feeling satiated. I also think of that as satisfied. I don't like the word full because to me, full is you just left the really fancy steakhouse and you ate all the hash browns with the steak and the dessert and you literally have to unzip your pants because you had so much food. So I don't mean full. I mean satiated, and protein is the most satiating macronutrient of all of them, which is why we really want to focus on getting protein in each of our meals. And one of my friends, Dr. Gabrielle Lyon, she talked about this research at a conference where she and I both spoke a few years ago. And she's really been getting the word out about the fact that we really, really want to have at least 30 grams of high quality protein in each meal. And when I say high quality protein, it's just a fact. This is no shade at all to the vegetarians and the vegans. I love you guys. The reality is it's harder to get bioavailable protein from those sources. So when I say bioavailable protein, I'm largely talking about animal sources of protein. This is your all of your different kind of meats, your poultry, your fish, even your dairy, your yogurt, your eggs. All of those things are more bioavailable sources than any others. So we want to think about, how do I build my meal around that? How do I find a fish, find a meat, find a poultry, find a piece of dairy, find something that I like, even a high quality protein powder. And I'm a huge fan of those. We'll get into what some of those are that I like in future episodes, but even a high quality protein powder that you can use to make a shake or a chia seed pudding or some other amazing meal. So we're going to focus on protein. Also, more important reasons that we have protein, in addition to building muscle, in addition to helping your bones, in addition to creating satiety, is protein also gives us energy. Protein also, and I thought this was such a fun fact, because it causes our body to have a hormonal response when we consume it. And this hormonal response that I'm referring to specifically in my example with protein is a hormone called Peptide YY, okay? And we're going to get into this in a second, but let me just tell you there's 3 legs of the stool that we need for you to feel full, okay? Satiated. 3 legs of the stool. And one is we have to consume protein. And when we consume protein, the reason we're eating protein is we get amino acids from that protein. Okay, so amino acids is the reason that we're consuming protein. Yes, amino acids also come in supplement form. I take those on occasion. I'm happy to talk about those in a future episode. But right now I want to focus on when we eat protein and we feel satiated, what is the consequence of that? What's happening in our body to make us feel satiated? And the answer is our body produces a hormone called Peptide YY. And that is one of the 3 legs of the stool that makes us feel full. Okay, Peptide YY. Associate that with protein. Then we also are going to consume healthy fats. That's our second macronutrient. Remember, the whole point of my talk today, you guys, is to get you to understand macronutrients and why we need to consume certain ones and why certain ones are less important. I'll get to that in a second. So healthy fats are going to be one of the reasons that we get satiated. It's the second leg of the stool. And the reason for that is when we eat healthy fats, we're consuming essential fatty acids. And essential fatty acids cause our body to release a hormone called cholecystokinin, which don't even try to spell it. I have to Google it every time I write it down. But it essentially is abbreviated CCK. Okay, so we're going to eat protein for the peptide YY. We're going to eat healthy fats for the cholecystokinin. And that is here, and I'm making this very simplified. You also can secrete some peptide YY from fat, and you also can secrete some CCK for protein. But just bear with me I'm trying to make this as simple for you guys as possible so you understand the why behind why you're eating these things. So again, our 3 legs of the stool: protein, peptide YY, healthy fats, cholecystokinin. And remember, with healthy fats, these are things like your avocado, every kind of raw nut you can think of, walnuts, macadamia nuts, pecans, peanuts, sunflower seeds, nuts and seeds, pumpkin seeds. All of those things give you great healthy fats. You also get healthy fats from grass-fed butter, from organic ghee, from really, really high quality olive oil. And I say high quality in front of the term olive oil because unfortunately, many of the supermarket grocery store olive oils, you guys, I hate to break it to you, are either cut with other oils, are like denigrated because they sit on shelves for too long. If you really want to give your body the highest quality olive oil, I will recommend, and I will put a link below for a brand that I love. I don't think I have an affiliate link for them with a discount code. I will work on getting that for you guys, but I really want to shout out this brand because I think they're really high quality, which is Fresh Pressed Olive Oil. It's a club. So I originally heard about them years ago from Ben Greenfield. And I also then met the owner of Fresh Pressed Olive Oil at KetoCon several years ago. And I order it. I get a quarterly shipment to my house. So I get 3 bottles. 3 bottles is about $99. I get the smaller bottle because it's just me. And I really, really like the taste of their olive oil. This is basically like a fancy wine club, but it's not alcohol. It's olive oil. So this gentleman, he goes around the world to different vineyards where they make high quality olive oil. And then he harvests them and gets the best oil and then ships it to all the members of his club. So last month when I got my box, or last quarter rather, it was 3 really delicious olive oils from Australia. The time before that, it was 3 delicious olive oils from Spain. Before that, it was Italy. And they're going to come from all over the world. So the only thing in that bottle is very high quality, fresh pressed olive oil. It doesn't have canola oil. It doesn't have vegetable oil. It doesn't have anything else that it's cut with. Okay. So that's my plug for high quality olive oil in your healthy fats category. You also then can imagine, like I mentioned, avocados and all sorts of nuts, is that olives themselves are another high quality source of healthy fats. So you could have olives. I mentioned butter and ghee. You also could do anything in the coconut family. So I use organic, unrefined virgin coconut oil in my warm beverage every morning. And I say warm beverage because I would like to congratulate myself that I have completely broken up with coffee. And I'm very proud of this. It hasn't been all that long. But so when I have a warm beverage in the morning, it's either going to be a tea that doesn't have caffeine in it, or my new favorite drink that I'm drinking all the time is a organic, unsweetened cacao. So it's basically just cacao. It doesn't have any other sweetener in it. It just says organic cacao on the label. And then I mix that with hot water and I add a little bit of drops of organic liquid stevia and I add a tablespoon of organic virgin unrefined coconut oil. You guys, try it. Best thing. Satiates you a little bit because you're getting that healthy fat from the coconut. And that just allows you to go that much longer before you have to eat your first meal. The other benefit of coconut oil from a healthy fat standpoint is the chemical composition, let's call it, or the molecular composition is probably the better term, of coconuts, is that it has medium chain triglycerides in them. That's what coconut oil is made from. And those can be very supportive for producing ketones in your body, for getting you into ketosis. So the most ketogenic medium chain triglyceride is called C8. It's caprylic acid. That's what C8 is. Actual MCT oil is typically, if you can find a really good one, it's just C8. But coconut oil is a little more diverse, and it has typically C8, C10, and C12. So it has 3 different medium chain triglycerides, which are supportive for your health, support your brain, support hydration in your body, because of course, healthy fats are going to make our skin look better. They're going to hydrate our cells, and they're also going to keep you satiated. So that's another benefit we're getting from healthy fats, is that satiety, just like we're getting from protein. And again, why is that? Let me go back to my little 3-legged stool, peptide YY, cholecystokinin. Okay. So you might be asking at this point, well, Kristen, what's the third leg of the stool? And I'll tell you that if you thought it was going to be carbohydrates, which is obviously our third macronutrient, you are right, with the caveat that it's not all carbohydrates are included in this category, okay? Because the third leg of the stool, when we think of peptide YY with protein, CCK with healthy fats, the third leg of the stool isn't just carbs. The third leg of the stool is volume. That is the other component of what we consume in a meal to make us feel full. Again, I like the word satiated. So in order to feel satiated, we need all of these 3 legs of the stool. So when we think of volume, what kind of carbohydrates have the most volume? You may have guessed it. Vegetables. Those really have the most volume. You could eat 2 cups of broccoli and feel satiated if you have it with healthy fats and with protein for much, 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 much longer than if you crumpled up half a sleeve of Ritz crackers and had those for your carbohydrate. There isn't much volume in that because they really turn into a form of what I always laugh about and call pixie dust when you crumble them because they aren't food. So when we think about getting volume in our carbohydrate category to make us full, think about any category of vegetable you can think of. I very much recommend organic. You can also think of organic beans, which are a carbohydrate that also gets you some protein value. You could think of things like sweet potato, parsnips. All of those root vegetables are another category. You could think of oats, buckwheat. A lot of those are going to be carbohydrates that have volume in them. And most importantly, what I want you to hear in this category about volume is I really, really strongly prefer that you choose a carbohydrate source when you're carefully adding a carb that has some amount of fiber. Fiber is so valuable. Now, I'm not speaking to my carnivore friends when I'm talking about fiber. There are people that need to do things that are a little more extreme, and I don't mean extreme in a bad way. I just mean, the ultimate elimination diet would be to have a carnivore diet, to literally eat nothing but meat. And that can be a very prescriptive protocol for someone who's suffering from things like mold illness, heavy metal toxicity, some other amount of environmental toxin in their body that they need to detox, and their body because of whatever the toxicity is that they're experiencing, doesn't do well with vegetables or fruits. Doesn't do well, frankly, with anything other than meat. And there are plenty of people who have written lots of books on this. I've personally tried carnivore for a month. As much as I love, love, love meat and feel like if I only had to choose one meal for the rest of my life, it would 1000% be filet mignon, maybe with a side of peanut butter, which I know sounds really disturbing, but I love peanut butter almost as much as I love filet mignon. So those two things, you could put them together. I don't do that, but I suppose you could. So in that carefully adding carbs category, we just want to make sure that the carbohydrates have volume. Okay, so I want to back way up. When I started this, I was talking about macronutrients and I said there are 3: protein, fat, and carbs. And I want you to prioritize protein, fill in with fat, and carefully add carbs. And then for a bonus, you can do fiber first. So let's talk about what that meal may look like. And you guys, if you follow my instruction on this, you cannot feel stressed out at the grocery store. You cannot feel stressed in your kitchen because you're like, oh, I did what Kristen said. And this is like the easiest thing in the world. I literally just have to pick a protein. I have to pick a healthy fat. And then I have to pick a simple carbohydrate. And there I have a meal. That is your blood sugar balancing meal. That is your meal that gives your body the nutrients that it needs and not any of the junk that your body doesn't need. So what might that look like? I mean, one of my favorite choices would simply be you're going to pick some protein, which is my favorite is beef. So I'll do some organic grass-fed ground beef. I will mix that with some kind of vegetable. I love cauliflower. I love broccoli. I love Brussels sprouts. I love greens. I love onions. I love garlic. A lot of times I'll mix several of those together just because I like the flavor combinations and I have more time. But if you have very little time for your meal, you're going to pick one vegetable, you're going to mix it with your grass-fed ground beef, and you're going to do a half an avocado. Or you're going to do, I forgot one of my favorite sources of healthy fats when I was mentioning that. You're going to do some kind of really high quality pesto. And make sure when you buy a pesto sauce, it should just include olive oil. I don't want you getting pesto with vegetable oils. That is a lot of them on the market. So Gotham Greens is a brand that I recommend in terms of pestos. They have a regular pesto and they have a vegan pesto. So both of those pestos I very much recommend. So that's all you have to do. You literally just chose ground beef, some kind of vegetable, and pesto, and that's your meal, and you heat it up together, and that's excellent. And the way you can really make your meal stand out is you can add all sorts of amazing organic herbs and spices to your liking. You guys, I buy the organic chimichurri seasoning from Whole Foods, and I'm not joking with you. I go through one container of it. It's a glass container. I go through one of those a week because I put so much of that on my meals because there are other micronutrients in those herbs. That chimichurri seasoning has, garlic, onion, thyme, rosemary, pepper, chili flakes, all sorts of different things that I apologize, I can't list out for you now. But chimichurri has almost the flavor of like an Argentinian season. It's that sort of flavoring. And then I'll mix that. There's no salt in that chimichurri seasoning. So I'll mix that with either a Redmond's real salt flavor that I like, or I'll use one of my favorites, which is a Whole Foods organic umami seasoning. Okay, so remember in our taste buds, you may not know this, but we have certain tastes. They are salty, sweet, sour. Salty, sweet, sour. I think the other one, I don't want to say it's tart. There's another one. And then the umami flavor, what I'm trying to get to is the umami flavor, which is savory. So I just love adding umami flavor to stuff. It is a salt. There's salt in it. So it almost has like a mushroom undertone. I think it's delicious. So I add that in chimichurri season to lots of meals. And then the meal tastes totally different, especially if my healthy fat was olive oil or avocado or something that isn't as flavorful as something like pesto. So I hope that makes sense. Okay. So how do I figure out exactly how much I want to have for my meal? And that's one other question that I get from clients a lot. So I'll tell you this. I use Cronometer as a tracking app. I love it. Cronometer is a very simple app that tracks all of your macros. I put in what I eat every single day of the week into Cronometer so I can see how much protein did I consume today? How many carbs did I have today? How much healthy fat did I have today? And most importantly, when I'm planning a meal or when I'm eating a meal, I'm looking, did that have enough protein? Did that have enough healthy fat? Was that a healthy enough low carb meal? Or is what I'm about to eat a very serious carbohydrate bomb, which is only going to make my blood sugar go on a roller coaster and make me feel like garbage 2 hours after I eat that meal? So that's not ideal. I really want you to have steady energy all day, which is possible when you regulate your blood sugar. So I use Cronometer. I typically have somewhere between, depending on what my protein source is, if I'm using a meat or a poultry or something, it's going to be between 4 and 6 ounces. I mean, if I'm getting filet at a restaurant, I'm having an 8-ounce filet. That's just my reality. I don't care if it's 50 or 60 grams of protein in one sitting. I can eat it because, again, your girl loves steak. It's like my favorite food. So Cronometer allows me to see how much protein is in 6 ounces of that beef, how much protein is in 4 ounces of that beef. And then I can plan my meal around that, making sure I'm getting at least 30 grams. And then people are like, okay, Kristen, well, what about how much healthy fat? How many carbohydrates? And I always say, if your meal can have at least 30 grams of protein and around, let's call it 20 grams of fat or so, could be a little more, could be a little less. And then I like to keep my carbohydrates for each meal to like 10 or 20. And obviously there's going to be some more if I use a lot of vegetables or if I add beans. It could be as much as 30 or even 40. But I try personally to never have a meal that has more than 40 grams of carbohydrates in it, because I know if I do, even if I pair it with a really good healthy fat and a really good protein, it's probably going to set my blood sugar into space. So you may notice that I'm wearing this NutriSense monitor. So this is another thing I want to shout out for you guys, and we'll put a link below, just like we'll put a link below for Cronometer. NutriSense is a continuous glucose monitor that I have literally been wearing for years. And when I say I've been wearing it for years, I only mean I've been wearing NutriSense monitors for years. They don't last for years. One monitor lasts for 2 weeks, and then you take it out and you put another one in. So I literally go back and forth between my arms and just keep switching it in terms of which arm I want to use so that I can track my blood sugar. So you scan it with my phone. It gives me all my data on where my blood sugar is at with my phone. So I'll do it first thing in the morning. You only have to scan your arm every 8 hours. You just want to make sure you do it within 8 hours. And then it collects all of that data and tells you what is your blood sugar. So you can see, how did my blood sugar respond after that meal? How did my blood sugar do after I took a walk outside? How did my blood sugar do once I laid down in the bed and had acupuncture? And by the way, that has been one of my favorite discoveries about using the NutriSense, is how many of my lifestyle habits where I'm stressed out can cause my blood sugar to go up, and how many of my lifestyle habits where I am chilled out can cause my blood sugar to go down. It's wild, you guys. Meditation plummets your blood sugar. Acupuncture plummets your blood sugar. Going in the sauna jacks your blood sugar up. Going in the cold plunge makes your blood sugar go down. And I've discovered all of this about my own body because I've been wearing these for so many years. So highly recommend, if you want to learn more about your blood sugar, if you really want to have an important tool for your health, consider getting the NutriSense CGM, and we will put a link below here so you can check that out. Okay, so in closing, to wrap up our awesome discussion about macronutrients, and I hope you have found this valuable, I just want to wrap up by reminding you guys that you're going to do a combination of the following macronutrients, which are protein, fat, and carbs, and you're going to do it by prioritizing protein, filling in with fat, and carefully adding carbs. And then for a bonus, you're going to do a fiber first. And all that means is that you're either going to have a little bit of a salad before your meal, or you're going to incorporate a lot of vegetables into your meal, or you might even decide while you're cooking to snack on some celery or something like that, just to make sure you're having good quality fiber with your meal. So I hope that you found this helpful. If you want to learn more about it, try practicing with Cronometer, and we'll put that link below. So use Cronometer, consider getting a CGM from NutriSense, and I will see you in the next video. Thanks for being here.